Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to modern audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised. Wrestling POV's content may not be suitable to some audiences. Your discretion is advised.
Hey fans, welcome to another edition of WPOV Global. I'm your host, the not sounding like he's dead from coming out of a coma, legend T. James Logan. And with me, the man who did come out of the coma, or at least he's going to sound like it. Now, first of all, I want to welcome to the show my co-host, the gentleman himself, Elio Canella. Elio?
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, you know, it sounds like a lot better than you. Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, you tell me you've been sick, that you've been dragging it out.
Yep.
Now, is it true, or did you and that puppet go on a 5-day bender? Because I hear Miguel is feeling pretty sick these days.
Oh, no.
And it sounds like he was on a 5-day bender. Were you on a 5-day bender?
Well, actually, I think I may have found the problem. The wrestling POV water.
Oh, you've been drinking the Mexican bottled POV water. Come on, man. We're Canadians. We know better than to drink Mexican water.
I don't know how we got here.
I don't know, but I have not drinking it. I've actually used that stuff to light my barbecue. So, fans, me and Elio are ready to scourge, travel. I'm not sure. We're going around the world, and man, Elio, this was one heck of a week of a lot of wrestling. I'm almost burnt out today.
I heard there were 2 pay-per-views back to back.
Yep. And you know what? We're going to go over a lot of stuff. New Japan throwing us the god-awful endless road to dontaku, which fans, next week we'll finally actually be able to report what the hell happens at dontaku, which, by the way, isn't even a 1-day show. It's like a 2 or 3 day show to begin with.
When's the actual event?
It's on 3rd and 4th, I believe. So it'll be this weekend. We had, I can't even believe it, at this day and age I'm saying this, there was an NWA pay-per-view called the Crocket Cup. We're going to take a look at that.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
We also had Impact's Rebellion, and plus our regular 4 shows. So man, we had a lot of wrestling to look at this week. But before we get into that, let's talk a little bit about some news. First of all, you know what? Before I get into the news, Elio, did you do anything else this week besides lay in bed and cough furballs?
No, I tried to listen to WPOV. I couldn't even listen to that and enjoy it. I had to listen to it twice.
Wow. Twice? That you must have had. Did you have it at half volume? Maybe if you had to play it twice to get. No, okay.
I had a full volume.
Well, you know what? Yeah, as you can tell, my co-host is sounding a little bit rough under the weather. But you know what? I know Elio watched a lot of stuff. I watched a lot of stuff. And no matter how sick or burnt out or 5-day bender to recovering we are on, we are here to talk about wrestling from across the world.
Wrestling is the best remedy for illness.
That and Tylenol.
Yes. Grab the Tylenol, watch some wrestling. You'll be fine.
I love that attitude, Elio. You know, my wife would say wrestling is what gives her the biggest headache she's had. Well, except me. But you know what? Let's talk some news.
Okay.
I know there's some. Now you mentioned this to me as I had just saw the thing and I didn't catch it all. There was 4 signings in AEW. Tell me a little bit about some of it. I mean, I don't have the full details.
So AEW, I didn't get the other 2 names. However, at Double or Nothing, there's going to be a kickoff show with an over-the-budget battle royal, and they signed the best friends for that event.
Oh, the best friends?
Ciampa and Chuck Taylor.
That's pretty awesome. Over-the-budget battle royal, that is pretty funny.
And now, actually, yes, the other 2, actually. Apparently, nothing's done yet, but it appears that Lucha Brothers may be exclusive to AEW.
Really? That is
In the US and AAA in Mexico, which will pull them out of their other contracts and the other companies.
like MLW and Impact.
In the process.
Wow.
MLW appears to be finishing up with them, however.
Wow, that is a big bit of news on the independent scene. The Lucha Brothers have seemed like they were everywhere, and then for them to go exclusively to AEW, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting stuff. Do you have some more news for me today?
That's about all I have on my end.
I thought you said that you had saw a special secret video. Believe it or not, it was a VHS tape circulating around that proved that Bobby Roode's mustache was in fact the love child of Joey Ryan and Silas Young.
You know what? Yes, actually, now that you bring that up, you are correct. I saw this video. It was like VHS. That shows how old we are.
Yes, it does, folks. And
So, Bobby Roode's mustache.
that almost seems like a whole episode.
I don't know what there are the words.
All I know is you're lucky, Bobby Roode, that they're going to have to mock you on the POV show because we don't really touch mainstream WWE, but it was so ridiculous that it crossed over and made us laugh.
No, we don't. The only thing we will say, he looks like Silas Young on our end.
Like I said, it looks like Joey Ryan and Silas Young ran into each other full speed, and out came Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? One of the things we like to do is, we like to call them polls, but this time, lately, we haven't really been doing like voting kind of polls. We've been doing the kind of polls where we ask you.
Just ask a general question.
Yeah. Well, sorry. Yeah. We just
ask a general question.
We ask a question and we talk a little bit about something that's talked with us. What we talked about was a job or overcoming the odds moment that shocked you the most. I talked about Greg Gagne, who maybe wasn't technically a jobber, but let's face it, in the pantheon of wrestling, he was basically the promoter's son who just got lucky. And for a moment, there was a moment where a beatdown by the Road Warriors. And that's right, Road Warriors, not the Legion of Doom, but the Road Warriors, did to him back in 1983 that really made me look at him like, holy smokes, that guy really made me buy that moment. So we were wondering, what kind of overcoming odds moments that shocked us the most. So I'm looking at this poll, and let's see, we got Emily, and please, if I get your name wrong, just remember we're Canadians, just call it that. Okay, Emily Galili says, Lightning Kid over Razor Ramon. You know what? That's the exact one you said, Elio.
Yep.
Now, Matt Nowak sent two pictures, and it was really funny. The first one was James Ellsworth, which, he kind of rised up for nobody. But the second one, the Cedric Von Hausen one, which is funny because I'm looking at this picture, and when I first saw it, I was like, who is that? Right? And at first...
I have seen that picture before, actually.
But you didn't know who it was, right?
I didn't know who it was.
After some research, I thought maybe it was a young Baron Corbin. It's not. It's actually a young Johnny Gargano. So good one, Matt. Yeah, definitely he overcame that crap. Barry Horowitz. Wow. Talk about the eternal jobber. Paul Roma joining the Four Horsemen. Oh, man.
Someone else brought up
that was
Paul
shocking
Roma.
and terrible.
I'm not the only one.
Paul Roma. That's just a bad taste in my mouth. That was by Ray Spalding, who also had said Barry Horowitz. Sorry. William T. Wondolowski said, yes, Ray, I am with you on this one. Paul Roma, not the one that I would have picked. Ooh. Steven Stonebreaker said, WWE pushing Barry Horowitz in 1995 has to be it for me. Stephen Oak said, the 1-2-3 kid beating Razor Ramon. Well, that's two of them for that one.
Tim Rice said Tim Horner pinning Road Warrior Hawk with a roll-up.
Yeah, Tim Horner.
And he included the video as well.
And James Kavanaugh said Barry Horowitz pinning Chris Candido. Lots of Barry Horowitz. He seems to be the WWE's eternal jobber. The Chris Cross says the Mulkeys. Do you remember those guys beating the Gladiators?
I don't recall the name.
I want you to go look that. That's your homework for today, Elio. You go look them up. You're going to have a laugh. The Mulkeys were pretty funny. Lass Henger says Rick Cross, the Mulkeys beating anyone. That was shocking. To which Rick Cross replied, I think that's the only one they ever had. And Lance Henniger replied with again, I know at one point they were the number 13 contenders for the U.S. tag team titles. Well, the number
what?
13 contenders. I didn't even know there were 13 tag teams contending for the U.S. tag team belts back then. John Lewis said Barry Horowitz first, and I think his only victory. I forget who he pinned. And somebody answered, Aaron Anthony Bolin said, it was Skip of the Body Adonis.
Yep.
And of course, Rick Ackerman, the last, we got a lot of comments on this one. Rick Ackerman says, the Mulkey brothers winning the NWA tag team titles during a televised event caused 3 weeks of Mulkey mania.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Let's see. Actually, someone brought up the Brooklyn Brawler pinning the Red Rooster.
Wow, isn't that painful to say? Brooklyn Brawler, Red Rooster in wrestling?
Yeah, Jose Guzman. That was Jose Guzman.
Okay. Jason Feller once again said, yours, the 1-2-3 Kid beating Razor Ramon in a non-main event match. To which Michael Pichelli replied with, Jason Feller came here to say this, or Santino beating Umaga. Yeah, that was a good one.
I remember that one, too.
Yeah. And we have Doge Singh saying Maven eliminating the Undertaker count. All right.
Is he talking about the Royal Rumble?
I think so, yes. And then we have Brandon Lee Richardson. Jason Arnott 2 years before he became Joey Abs, defeating Ahmed Johnson by reverse disqualification in October 97. My first time seeing a jobber win a match. Ooh. Then he also put, then again, not the first time I seen it happen. I forgot that I seen Tony Williams beat Scotty Too Hottie on May 1st episode of Shotgun, which I believe was Scotty's second televised match. So I didn't know if he was a superstar because I forgot he beat Leif Cassidy. Oh, remember Leif Cassidy, also on Raw recently before.
That was terrible.
Yeah, wow. Leif Cassidy. You know what? Going through a lot of this junk, man, some of this question brought up a lot of terrible wrestlers and a lot of terrible gimmicks. Wow.
Oh, my God.
I'm not sure how we're going to have to top that one for next week, but I do know today's poll is going to be tied in, and I'm not going to bring up the poll till after we do the Book of Shame, because we have someone going into the Book of Shame this week. And we're going to see if me and Ellie are just being super hard on this guy. We're going to put the poll up. If you think this guy is a legitimate good wrestler or just a goofball turd ball, you guys will tell us. But we're going to talk about that at the end of the episode when we do the Book of Shame. Well, I think it's time now we turn our attention to... let's start off with some pay-per-views. You know what? We had a lot of pay-per-views this week, and wow. There was a lot of stuff going on. And let's talk about, we're going to end our segments with our 4 regular shows, but I thought right now we take a look at some of the 2 pay-per-views that were happening this week, plus a bit of our New Japan news. First of all, let's take a look at Impact. Impact doing a show which had some interesting repercussions for sure going in here. The name of the thing was called Rebellion, and it was held in Toronto. I'm going to go quickly through some of it. I'm going to skip some of the dumb crap and stuff we don't really know. It started off with a 5-man scramble match where we had Petey Williams, Cousin Jake, that would be Jake Diener, Eddie Edwards, Ace Austin, Aiden Prince, and Jack Christ against each other in a scramble match. First pinfall wins. It ends up that, our good friend Ace Austin winning this one. Now, the one thing that stuck out in my head the most about this, was, 2 things, really, both involving Eddie Edwards. The first one, Eddie Edwards coming down and being announced, but at the same time, he was also, they announced Kenny as if Kenny was like a person coming down with him. His kendo stick, yeah. They announced, accompanied with
why?
Kenny. I've never heard anyone announce a weapon.
That's a first for me, a kendo stick getting an official introduction.
Yeah, and then... Ace Austin does that stupid little thing where he whips out this little magician's cane like a 12-year-old doing magic, well, more like a 10-year-old doing magic tricks. He pulls out this stupid cane, and then he decides he's going to try and maybe fight Eddie Edwards' kendo stick with this. Luckily, somebody drags him out of the ring before he gets his butt handed to him. So, pretty pedestrian match, Ace Austin winning. It was okay stuff. Probably the weakest match on this, just for straight work rate, would have to be Scarlett Bordeaux beating Rohit Raju, pinning him. Can you believe that? Yeah. I got to admit, Scarlett Bordeaux, wow, she's right up there with Io Shirai for me and Rhea Ripley.
Impact sure loves their intergender
Yeah,
matches, don't
and
they?
man, they like. Does she realize she's wrestling in like leather panties? Like, it's definitely that's definitely some kind of dominatrix underwear she's wearing. Okay, and it seems Impact has no qualms about showing lots of close-ups on her butt a lot wearing that, and I guess I'm okay with that. In our ongoing ridiculousness, you'll probably have to mention this in the show, the lead up to it, but Moose and the North. Now, the North is Ethan Page and Josh Alexander teaming up against the Rascals, and man, they laid a beating on the Rascals. They weren't so rascally after this, I'll tell you that. I'm not sure what to say to that. I mean, you knew it was coming, right? I mean, the Rascals seriously did not stand much of a chance to begin with against Moose. Now he brings in two legitimate, a legitimate tag team with him. It was pretty obvious where this was going. Next match surprised me a lot. Impact champion Taya Valkyrie keeping her belt against Jordynne Grace. I thought for sure Jordynne Grace was going to win this. She looked great out there. She was so powerful. And, Valkyrie weaseled out of it pretty well. And I guess it was good because now I want to see the rematch. I thought for sure.
Yeah, that was a surprise. I thought for sure that they'd give it the belt to Jordynne Grace.
Yeah. Next one, you know what? Man, Sami Callihan disgusts me. Sami Callihan losing to Rich Swann in a no DQ OVE banned from ringside match, which included staple guns and all sorts of stupid crap, weapons, and you know how I feel about this stuff. Not digging it.
Yep.
And then the grossest thing in the world, Callihan spits at Swann. Swann grabs the spit and eats it off his face. I mean,
ew.
Come on, guys.
What is going on?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, I've never heard of hepatitis C before, because if anyone's going to get it, it's going to be Sami Callihan, that dirty. Anyways, we went on with Gail Kim versus Tessa Blanchard, which was actually a really good match. It's we haven't seen a lot from Tessa lately, except for all these stupid vignettes and jumping people and kind of junk. It was great to see her put on this great match and pin Gail Kim cleanly. It was a really, really, a really good match, and I think it did a lot here. It really elevated Tessa Blanchard in the eyes of a lot of people, and I think it was good to see Gail Kim come back for one night, and then.
And apparently, she posted on Twitter that she's gonna need back surgery following that the pay-per-view.
Gail Kim?
Yep.
Ooh, not cool. Speaking about someone who hurt their back, the semi-main event, Brian Cage defeating Johnny Impact for the Impact Wrestling belt with special guest referee Lance Storm. Now, 3 or 4 minutes into this match, you see you see Impact perform a Spanish fly maneuver on Brian Cage onto like the walkway, and it looks terrible. And I swear, man, the rest of that match, you can tell Brian Cage is wrestling hurt. And sure enough, after the match, straight after he got the belt, went to the back, they rushed him to the hospital. He had some lower back damage. Not sure how serious it's going to be, but he was definitely hurt. And hey, your best buddy, Michael Elgin, coming out at the end telling I'm sorry, Michael Elgin makes me laugh.
I'm sure you're mistaken.
Yeah, I'm not mistaken that he came out, but yes, I am mistaken. There's no way there's no way you'd say he was your friend, but he comes out, gets in Cage's face, says he's going to come after the belt, and then attacks Cage. So Cage taking a double beating. And then, you know what? We talked about this before, and I think this will be it. The final wrap-up of LAX versus the Lucha Brothers in a Full Metal Mayhem match, which pretty much means anything goes. It was a crazy match. The winners of the match were LAX. At the end, they all decided that this was it. They all hugged each other out and said, we're family again. And I like to say, we talked about this. You said you were getting very sick of it. I said it was nice to see that maybe it would come to a big culmination. And for some reason, I would have thought, but I guess it makes more sense with the Lucha Brothers possibly being signed away exclusive to AEW. I kind of thought maybe the Lucha Brothers were going to come out on LAX here. But I got to say, going into this whole feud, I wasn't the biggest LAX fan, but I really have learned to like this team a lot in the last, since we've been covering them on the show. and watching them a lot
Right.
closer, LAX is a pretty legit tough team. I like these guys a lot.
Yep.
Now, the pay-per-view itself, it was okay. It wasn't spectacular, but it wasn't terrible by any means. It had some interesting matches and a bunch of title changes. So, you know what? I'm going to give it a thumbs up. All right?
All right.
Next, let's move over to the Crocket Cup.
Oh,
Now,
no.
who would have thought in this day and age we'd be talking about an NWA pay-per-view? But here it is. The Crocket
The
Cup.
Crocket Cup. I mean, last time I heard the name NWA Crocket Cup was like back in the 80s.
Yep. Well, you know what? It was kind of believe it or not, except for the times where they had some guys that you've never heard about before, probably, unless you're a super hardcore follow every wrestling guy. There were a few guys in here that I'd never heard about, and there were a few things that made me go, huh? But it was kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, for all its wrestling, if I was to compare it to, say, the Impact pay-per-view, this seemed to have a lot more wrestling and a lot more storytelling as opposed to crazy-ass maneuvers or, you know, like all-over flying crap that sometimes we see that makes no sense. This had a lot of, you know, people were getting a lot of reactions from just the story, and it was good.
Okay.
Now, I'm going to start off. There was a battle royal that, and let's be honest here. There is no way in hell we can honestly tell you how the teams that got here, okay? I mean, ROH had a few qualifying matches, but, I mean, half the guys that are in here weren't in these qualifying matches, so who knows where the hell they qualified. But let's take a look at the card itself. So it started off with the Battle Royal, and the Battle Royal had a bunch of mixed teams in there, and the winning team would get added into the brackets. And it ended up that the winning team was Tom Latimer and Royce Isaac. Now, Tom Latimer, you know, as Bram from back in Impact days. Royce Isaac.
Oh, okay.
Royce Isaac, no idea who this guy is, but they looked okay. They made it on, so they're going to be into the first round in a bracket. So, Crocket Cup first round. First match had Flip Gordon and Bandito taking on Stuka Jr. and Guerrero Maya Jr. It was kind of cool to see Flip Gordon come out wearing a sombrero and Bandito wearing like a shirt of Flip Gordon's. You know, it's trying to show that they're a team, even though I don't think these guys have ever teamed together. And the only thing the only thing that I question about this whole thing is, why did Bandito not team up with any Lifeblood member? That seems a little weird to me, but okay.
Oh, good question.
Really fun match. Stuka Jr. and Guerrero Maya Jr. Now, I've seen Stuka Jr. before. He was doing these crazy-ass moves, dude. This is scary crap. He would go to the top rope, and then he would like be facing... His opponent would be on the floor with his back to his opponent. He would literally leap off, spin, and come down blind. Like a torpedo.
Oh.
He did that. Wow. He did that a couple times, and I'm thinking, there is no way in hell you could pay me to do that. That is scary.
Wow.
Yeah. In the end, Flip Gordon and Bandito winning to advance. Mm-hmm. Next, two guys I've never heard of before called the War Kings, who were kind of like, I guess, I don't know, the indie light version of the Vikings or the Experience or whatever the hell they are.
Yeah, I still call them the War Raiders. I don't care.
So the War Kings taking on Latimer and Royce Isaacs. Royce Isaacs and Latimer making it through. So not only do they win the Battle Royal, but they win the first round match to go to the second round. So that was kind of cool.
Wow.
Okay. This next match, I mean, if you thought any way in the world that the Rock and Roll Express were going to beat the Briscoes, you have been drinking Elio's water.
Okay, now, because although I didn't get a chance to check the pay-per-view out, I did see the results. When I saw the name Rock and Roll Express, I was trying to figure out how in the world that match even happened.
I don't know, but I do know it was... Well, you've got the Briscoes, who are probably one of the best tag teams in the world right now. These guys are on point, man.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roll Express, they can't even throw drop kicks anymore, man. You know, their trademark moves. They didn't do
the Rock and Roll Express.
They didn't do a lot in this match. Ricky Morton got bloodied a lot. Robert Gibson tried to make the big save, but in the end, the Briscoes just took it over. It was. I don't know. I guess I get the idea of the nostalgia of it, but wow, not sure.
I'm telling you, when I was a kid, I had like a collection of black and white magazines. I started collecting the wrestling magazines in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And Rock and Roll Express was one of the teams I first learned about.
Yep. All right. Moving forward, here's a match that I wish I would have loved to have seen live. We had the team of Satoshi Kojima and Yuji Nagata from New Japan taking on PCO and Brody King.
Ooh.
Great match. When Kojima throws you in the corner and does those slaps where he just stands there and slaps the crap out of you?
Yes.
He did that to PCO, and PCO turned around and did it to him.
Wow.
PCO is... I cannot... we may have a book of shame. Sometimes I wish we had a book of fame because, man, PCO is just one of the coolest guys right now out there. I want to see this guy live wrestle. He's incredibly fun.
Yeah, this one's definitely one of my favorites.
And Brody King is like a freak, man. He is so big. Like, his body size, like, even standing next to him, PCO, and PCO is a big dude. PCO looks like kind of like a miniature compared to Brody King. Brody King is just... Everything about him's big. His shoulders, his legs. There's nothing about this guy that's thin. He's just a giant trunk. And I'm not talking fat, people. We're just talking like a guy who's just freakishly big. I mean, he must be at least 6'7", 6'8", because he's massive.
Wow.
Great match. Really enjoyed it. But PCO and Brody King advancing into the next round. Then we had a women's match for the NWA vacated NWA women's title. Now, this was an interesting match for me. It had Sienna taking on Santana Garrett. And fans, I've met Santana Garrett, and I do have an interview with her somewhere in the vault. Maybe someday we'll pull that one out. But Santana Garrett, awesome lady. She did not win the title. I was surprised. She is a former NWA Women's Champion. This is Sienna's first win. Sienna wins it. Definitely all attitude and meanness in this girl, but a good-looking girl, but very mean. Then we had Thomas Latimer and Royce Isaacs taking on Flip Gordon and Bandito. Can you guess who won this match?
I'm going to guess it was Latimer and Isaacs.
Nice. Most people would have guessed Gordon and Bandito, but you're right. Latimer and Royce. These guys went right through the Battle Royal, right through round one, right through round two, into the finals. Give them credit. Then the Briscoes versus PCO and Brody King. This match really disappointed me because it wasn't much of a match, okay? They wrestled for just a couple of minutes, and then the Briscoes freaked out, started throwing chairs into the ring. Then they attacked the referee and beat the hell out of him. They basically got themselves disqualified and kicked out of the tournament.
Wow.
I really wanted to see a good match between these guys, but I guess maybe ROH is saving it for themselves. Put that in their back pocket. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Now, this one, I'm going to give props here. NWA National Champion Willie Mack putting his belt up against Colt Cabana. And I know WPOV has been pretty hard on Colt Cabana for the last while. The last few times I saw him, especially in the New Japan Cup that we were watching, I was kind of impressed with him. He actually beat Willie Mack here for the NWA National title. And it was a clean, and it was a good victory, and it was interesting to watch Colt not play the goofy crap. He played it pretty straight-laced, and showed off his wrestling ability. And
because usually he does his his comedy routine. In
there was no comedy routine in here, and I think one thing that because we don't see Colt Cabana wrestle a lot, I think we forget how big this dude is because Willie Mack is a pretty big dude. He was a little bit bigger than Willie Mack. So that ought to tell you that maybe we don't always remember how big Colt Cabana really is. So he wins the belt, and then James Storm, can you believe it? James Storm, of all people, comes out and tells Colt he's coming for his belt.
James Storm, Storm. Where's he been?
I don't know. The old age home? Getting his hips replaced? I don't know. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the stuff. There was a whole bunch of ceremony stuff with the Crocket Cup thing going on. But they had Nikita Koloff, who... Nikita Koloff, such a cool guy. I once had a 25-minute interview with him that was awesome, talking about back in those days. Man, we're going to have to crack out some vault stuff sometime soon. We'll talk to the president and see which ones we can pull out. Because, I mean, I'm looking at Nikita Koloff. I'm looking at Santana Garrett. Heck, I'm even looking at I would love to put out an interview that I did with Nick Aldis. Now, before we get into talking about Nick Aldis, let's do the final of the Crocket Cup. The team of PCO and Brody King defeat Latimer and Isaacs, and so PCO winning the thing. He is now a Crocket Cup winner. He's won the ROH title. Man, this guy has had a great year.
Good job.
And you know what? You know what that means? Not only do they win the Crocket Cup, they are also the NWA World Tag Team Champions.
You know, this guy is actually the perfect example of the question that we asked earlier in the poll.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. I didn't even think about that, because remember when he was that stupid pirate dude that was just terrible?
He was Jean-Pierre Lafitte. He was a part of the Quebecers. He was
he a
tag
Mountie?
team champion, but like still.
Wasn't he one of the Mounties too at the end, like the third Mountie or something like that? I'll have to check that. I can't remember. I kind of think in the back of my head he was one of the Mounties at the end, but we'll see.
Yeah, the Quebecers. They were Jacques was the Mountie. Then when he was with Pierre, they were the Quebecers.
Okay. Because are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure the Quebecers were two brothers, the Rougeau brothers. Oh, maybe not. Maybe I. Oh, you know what? We'll both look it up, and I'll even not admit that I'm wrong if I am. All right. The main event. Now, folks, this is a really good match. I'm gonna try and get our good friend Ellie here to take a look at it. Nick Aldis defeats Marty Scurll. Very solid match. I know Nick Aldis is not exactly hailed in great light at all times, even though he's been NW champion for a while. He was the Global Force champion for a while. I had this great interview with the guy. The guy is brilliant. I mean, I remember it was one of those weird interviews where I had a chance to talk to a guy, and they said, "Oh yeah, it's Nick Aldis," and in my head I'm like, "Okay, he's a name, but I don't really know much about him except he was in Impact and he was, some gladiator dude and Magnus or whatever." And I wasn't really keen on the interview. But like 5 minutes into the interview, and I'm sitting there listening to this guy tell the most incredible stuff, and I'm just thinking to myself, I really lucked out because this is a really enjoyable interview. And Nick Aldis, I came out of that interview with such respect for the guy that I've been watching him a lot closer now, and he really does have a lot to offer. It's weird that he's with the NWA. They're probably spending a lot of money to keep him. But he's, here's a guy I'm surprised hasn't hit like a bigger form. His wife, for Pete's sakes, has been in like the WWE for a long time now. Makes you wonder how come he's not getting a chance in there,
Yep.
All right, now to wrap up the last part of before we get into our regular show is our New Japan stuff. All right.
Oh, okay.
Now, me and Elio have been a little bit confused about all the different names for the road to Dontaku and blah 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 and whatever. But we're going to take a look at the two. I know I got you to take a look, and I want to get your comment on some of these matches. And I know your voice isn't the best. You've been sick. But let's start off, first of all, the Road, Dontaku, and Hiroshima, which had the main event being the tag team, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, Yo and Sho, putting their belts up against Bushi and Shingo.
That match, I really enjoyed that one.
Yeah. What did you like about it?
I just like all the action, non-stop throughout the whole match. And just, I noticed it's either a Sho or Yo, or is there like a history between one of them and Shingo?
Yes, Yo has been determined that he is going to someday... Oh, no, sorry, it's Sho. Sorry, I get them mixed up. Sho is very determined that his dream is to beat Shingo physically, because Shingo is known as to be one of the strongest junior heavyweights. Well, Sho is considered to be actually one of the strongest guys on the New Japan in the locker room. His size may not show it, but he's an incredibly strong man, and he has been obsessed with getting a win over Shingo. And I think that really showed in this match how he went at Shingo constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And
I swear when they were standing in the middle of the ring, trading forearms, trading chops,
trading blocks, trading everything. And you know what? I gotta say it. You know what? I do not for 1 second believe that Shingo is a junior heavyweight. There is no way that guy's weight is under 220 pounds. He is a lot bigger than every other junior heavyweight. But really good match. And then we moved to the next night where they were in Kumamoto, Japan. The main event there. I mean, we don't talk about a lot of matches in there because a lot of them are just leading up to to what's going to be the main events coming up in Dontaku. I do have to mention there was a tag team championship match where Tomatonga and Tongaloa put up their belts against Toru Yano and Togi Makabe, with Makabe and Yano not getting close even. It was a Bullet Club sweep in that one. But the main event, Hiroyoko Goto versus Jay White. Now, what did you think of this match?
Okay, this match for me was okay. Like, I didn't enjoy it as much as the tag team.
Okay.
I have to say. But, yeah, it was a good match, you know. But, and, I believe, who was it that won again?
Jay White.
Jay White won, right? That's right. Yeah, for me, it was a good match, but I enjoyed the tag team more.
Okay. You got to feel sorry for Goto. I mean, this guy is the perennial top card loser. He rarely wins the big ones. Jay White is,
and plus, again, I'm not a big fan of either Goto or White. Like, White maybe a bit more than Goto.
Okay. Did White at least impress you a little bit?
White is impressing me a little bit. Yes.
Yeah, I'm starting to see what New Japan sees in him.
Mm-hmm.
You know. So, fans, we have coming up then. Next week, we'll be talking about the road. Not even the road. We'll be talking about Dontaku. Find out all that stuff's going on. We have been blabbering for a good 36 minutes now. I think we should take a little bit of a break here. And when we get back, we are telling you the whole show now, as we cover the 4 shows that we cover every week. So fans, we'll see you in a bit.
This is the American Nightmare, Cody Rhodes, and you are listening to the Wrestling POV podcast.
Hey folks, we're back. Wow, that was a lot of wrestling, and we haven't even got to our regular parts of the show. But
I'm already tired out, and we haven't even gotten into.
Well, this is the portion of the show where we usually split it in half, but we're going to do it in one shot here. We're going to talk about the 4 shows we watch weekly. That's not on top of the New Japan and any pay-per-views that we cover. Let's start off with WWE NXT UK. All right?
All right.
We're in Brooklyn, New York. Are they ever returning to England, by the way? It seems like we've been in Brooklyn, New York for quite a long time.
They like to, this is what I'm talking about, like, confusion. They record do tapings, like, weeks in advance, and then they air it at later dates.
Yeah. At least they do it a little better than MLW, which is still, you know, we're gonna talk about a match that we already talked about 3 weeks ago at Battle Riot. So anyways, opening match, your favorite match luchador, Ligero, versus your favorite wash-up wrestler, Cassius Ohno.
I'm sure you're mistaken about the one, but I do have to say, Ligero is talented. It's just that stupid mask. If he only got rid of it and got like a different one.
Yeah, I guess.
You know?
He's pretty skinny and small, so maybe it's what he has going for. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I like to call this the battle of who the hell cares. Apparently Cassius Ohno cared. He got the 3 count. It was an okay match. Whatever, you know. I'm going to skip all the talking and blah, blah, blah. Nothing really set up anything important. Kaylee Ray versus Jai Lee. I hope I said her name right.
Zaya Lee.
Are you sure it's Zaya? Okay.
Yeah, Zaya Lee.
Okay. Kaylee Ray looking pretty good. I'm expecting more. They're obviously positioning some kind of Piper Niven, Kaylee Ray, possibly Rhea Ripley thing going on. But with Rhea Ripley kind of hurt, that might put that in the back burner for a little while. Poor. You know, we should all take a moment and think of how beautiful Rhea Ripley is. Man, she ain't no Alannis, but she's getting pretty close. All right. Your favorite mouthpieces, Zach Gibson and James Drake, blah, blah, blah. Who cares about them? Okay, main event. The greatest name of a tag team ever. Mustache Mountain. Trent Seven and Tyler Bates. Defeating Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster. You know what? It was kind of fun to see an all-out, balls to the wall, fun, no cheating, talented wrestling match. As much as we make fun of Mustache Mountain, they always have some great matches.
Yeah, they do. I like them.
So, you know, overall, I would give this car, I'm going to give it a B minus. First of all, it loses points for not having any Rhea Ripley. It loses points for not actually being in England. I'm getting pretty sick of seeing from Brooklyn. It
does gain points for not having Jenny on there. So
okay, yes, good. It gained some points back there, but having to see Cassius Ohno and his flabby old body running around, that That also that lost some points. So I'm going to give it a B minus. It wasn't great. It wasn't middle of the road. It was okay. Okay? Yeah, we'll just say it was okay.
All right.
So why don't we turn it over and talk a little about Impact? What do you got on the Impact side?
Impact Wrestling. Oh, boy. So, I'm going to do the same and skip like all the talking and stuff. So the first match, Austin defeats Aiden Prince with the full blockbuster.
Man, you had no one coming in just by the look at them that Aiden Prince really had no chance, right?
And again, of course, Ace Austin had to take out that stupid Ace and give Prince a paper cut.
Oh, brother. Ace Austin. We're going to get to you later, buddy. We're going to get to you later.
Then we had, okay, I'm just going to say Rosemary defeated the Undead Maid of Honor, whatever.
Doesn't that make your tongue burn? Okay, next.
Yeah. Now, Killer Cross defeats Willie Mack.
I'm liking Killer Cross. You know, he talks too much. and it's not that exciting, but sometimes he's interesting. In the beginning, his character was super interesting. I think they really oversaturated it with the stuff with him and Johnny Impact kind of.
And it's not funny because when he was feuding with Johnny Impact, we were talking about how we're so sick of seeing Killer Cross, and now we're getting behind him.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, obviously, you got to get away from him, from Johnny Impact. Let him wrestle some guys. And you know what? I love Willie Mack. So, you know, if you can beat Willie Mack and look that good doing it, props to you.
Then we had the Deaners making their debut, defeating Halal Beefcake. I don't even know who these guys are.
I don't think they are. Next.
I think I remember one of the names from weeks back. Then in the main event, it was Brian Cage and LAX defeating Johnny Impact and the Lucha Brothers.
Now that one really confused me because doesn't it seem like in the feud of LAX versus the Lucha Brothers that the Lucha Brothers are the good guys here?
Yeah, and here they're teaming up with Johnny Impact, who's a heel. What's going on?
Yeah, it confused me. Like the heel tag team's with the good guy, and the face tag team is with the bad guy. That was a little confusing for me. Okay match. Yeah, it was what it was.
So, I don't know. Maybe a C. I'm gonna go with a C.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a C too. There was not a lot of wrestling for a 2-hour show. Did you notice that? You haven't really said so many matches for how long.
No, yeah. there were more segments, but then this was a lead up to Sunday's pay-per-view.
Yeah, so we didn't really have to go too much into it because we already talked about the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm going to give it a C also, okay? Now let's get into MLW, Major League Wrestling.
MLW.
Now, this week's, oh my goodness. As much as I love Teddy Hart and his gang, stuff with the Dynasty is just I don't know, it's just dumb.
Uh-oh.
So I want to see if I understand this right, Elio. Last week, Teddy Hart got arrested for throwing a brick through MJF's car, right? They dragged him away, right? But this week, he steals MJF's car, leaves garbage and condoms inside of it, and yet he doesn't get in trouble for that. Where the hell's the logic of this?
What's going on?
I don't know. Okay, the first match coming out of here, we had... Oh, first of all, did you catch their MLW has announced that they are going to do a new belt, an open weight. So I guess fat old Barrington Hughes and AC Romero might have a chance at something here, but they're going to do an open weight belt. They're going to have 4 contenders battle for it. So I don't know who that's going to be.
An open weight belt? I thought Never already has one.
That's New Japan, though. This is MLW. Just another company, dude.
Wow.
So I don't know where they're going with that. They have a couple of really fat, gross guys on the, I guess it's the fat guy belt, maybe. I don't know. We'll have to ask Tony. He probably knows about fat guy belts. Anyways, speaking about guys who need to not skip meals, are Jordan Oliver versus Cotto Brazil. Oh, did I lose you, Elio?
No. Jordan, I'm just thinking of Jordan, who's Jordan Oliver?
Oh my God, he looks like Eminem's smaller brother. He's this little white guy who's dressed like a black rapper, I guess. I don't know. He's got like his hair in I don't know. You just have to look up this guy. He's skinny little dude.
No, because I know Cotto Brazil.
And did you know? I never noticed this, but when they were talking about Cotto Brazil, they said he was 5'4".
Is that possible? I'm 5'3".
But then when I looked at the referee versus Cotto Brazil isn't very tall. Okay. Anyways, him and Jordan Oliver had this match. Lots of all over the stuff. Cotto Brazil still rocking the eye patch, playing off of,
Oh, no, still. All these weeks later.
Yeah, he's still wearing it. He gets the upper hand in this match, and out comes Selena and Ricky, whatever his name is, the guy who supposedly... Ricky Martinez, the guy who supposedly blinded him, comes out, and they distract him. Jordan Oliver comes in behind with the roll-up win and acts like he just won the Super Bowl. We find out that some big fat dude from Austria is going to get a shot against Tom Lawler coming up.
Okay.
This guy named Avalanche, I guess he was in the Battle Riot. I remember seeing him. Then they have a little setup where they have Brian Pillman Jr. getting jumped by the Dynasty, and they put a chair under his arm and beat the crap out of him in the trainer's room just before the match coming up. Okay. Now, before that match, they had your buddy and mine, Ace Austin, losing to Ray Horace in a very which is actually a fun match. I enjoyed it. There are parts of it that were a little, I don't know. There are parts of it that dragged a bit, but it wasn't terrible. Sometimes Ray Horace. That's the problem with poor Ray Horace, man. He's in this company and they're using him, but he looks like a step down when you see Ray Phoenix in there.
Okay.
So, yeah, Ray Horace did okay, gets the victory. Then we had the main event. And this, of course, was right out of Battle Riot. We've talked about it before. Richard Holiday, Alexander Hammerstone, and Maxwell Jacob Friedman defeating Brian Pillman Jr., Davey Boy Smith Jr., and Teddy Hart in a tables match. Alexander
Hammerstone looks so out of place in that group because the other two are supposed to be like rich guys.
Yeah.
But I'm confused on what Hammerstone's role is in that group.
I think he's the only legitimately tough guy. It was it was a good match. I feel, Teddy Hart and Davey Boy Smith was pretty incredible in this match. They did something earlier where they took a poll with people and asked people who they wanted to see get a title shot, and tons of people, the clear-cut winner was Davey Boy Smith Jr. People, MLW fans want to see him take on Tom Lawler, so that would be interesting.
Yeah, that would be interesting.
So, the match starts with Hart and Smith Jr. out there like on a 2-on-3 thing. The match goes on, they're winning, dominating. Brian Pillman Jr. comes staggering out, all beat up, tags himself in, and then goes through a table and causes the match. So, bit of a letdown there. Overall, it was a fun match, a fun card. I like the show a lot. I'm going to give this one a B+, and I'm interested to see next week's, because apparently next week the whole show will be executively produced by Selena Dila, whatever her name is.
Oh, no.
So who knows where that's going to go. She actually threatened the announcer that she better learn English, or better learn Spanish, or she may get fired next week.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right, so that leaves us with Ring of Honor. Tell us about the
Ring of Honor. Now, this was Ring of Honor this week. We opened the show with Silas Young versus Jonathan Gresham.
Was he missing his mustache?
I'm kidding. So this was a pretty good match, actually.
It really was. Gresham may be small, but he's interesting. And Silas Young, I think, is really underrated as a wrestler.
Silas Young wrestled most of the match, where the commentators were saying it was Gresham showing more of the heelish tactics.
Interesting.
And in the main event, it was the Briscoes defeating Silverado and Caristico.
Once again, the Briscoes showing why, even as, no matter if they're good guys or bad guys, they really know how to dominate a match. They really know how to take control, and they're spectacular,
Yep.
There's something to be said about tag teams made of brothers, like legitimate real brothers. They seem to be able to read each other, and they're there for each other, like boom.
Yep.
So overall, how would you have rated this week's?
I'm gonna give the ROH a B, because Silas Young versus Jonathan Gresham. Like I said, I really enjoyed that match. It was really well done.
I'm gonna give it a B-, just for the simple fact is the wrestling was good, but once again, it still lacked the feeling of a show. It just still felt like the old days of ROH, where you could throw on like a one of their videos and just watch matches. You know what I mean?
it looks the same. Their stage setup always looks the same as it did at the Center Stage Theater. It's like you walk down the steps, you're already in the ring.
Yeah, it's there's no uniqueness to each show.
Yeah.
It could be anywhere.
Of course,
at any time.
the only the one thing I forgot to mention at the beginning, we had Matt Taven's promo, and Flip Gordon comes out and announces that he's been named the new challenger for Taven's championship.
Yeah, that makes no sense, eh? But okay, whatever.
That was weird. Like, I don't understand where that came out of, how they came up to that decision.
Yeah, you know what? You're forgetting the biggest rule in wrestling. You do not apply logic to it. It just doesn't mesh.
Okay.
Well, you know what, folks? Obviously, another fun week of wrestling. A lot of wrestling for us this week. I think it's time we have a little fun, and we dip in to the Hall of Shame.
Oh,
and guess what, Elio?
What's that?
I have a nomination for the Hall of Shame this week.
Oh boy. Okay.
Crack it open and start reading out who we have and see if they get removed first. Maybe our new person will be taking up someone's space. I don't know.
NXT backstage interviewer that we still don't know your name.
You know what? I am going to keep the fashionista hate alive and say, you say that word, you go in the Hall of Shame. I almost should go on it for saying it this week, but I'm not going to because I run the Hall of Shame. Next.
Next, we have Facade.
Oh, Facade. You're staying in there for a long time. Until you get a haircut and some new gear, and I don't know, you need something, brother.
But have we seen him lately? Because I don't remember seeing him anymore after that one appearance.
I know. I mean, that is how shameful he was. He got one appearance, and he gets to be in the Book of Shame for this long.
Maybe he heard about our Book of Shame, but he decided not to show his face anymore.
You would think these people would listen to the show and like dummy up. You know, you think Facade would get a haircut? You think Sami Callihan would quit wrestling? And Tommy Dreamer would jump off a bridge. These things should happen. Okay, anyways, go on.
Next, we have that word that you love so much.
Always in there.
Jimmy Havoc.
Yeah, gross, you're in there.
Madman Fulton.
Ugh, OVE, you deserve your own wing. Next.
Nigel McGuinness.
How are you feeling about this? Do you think it's time to pick Nigel out of there, or does he still get to be in there for a little more punishment?
You know what? Let's give it one more weekend, then I will...
You're right. If he says it next week, though, dude, if I hear it any time out of Nigel McGuinness's mouth, here's what I'll do. Next week, Nigel, if you don't say it, you're out. But if we hear it one more time out of your mouth, you're going in for a year.
Oh, and you're one across, Tom.
Not when I run the Hall of Shame, damn it.
No, TJ's the warden in the book that controls Hall of Shame.
You do too, my friend. We're caretakers of this hallowed place.
Well, no, I read the names. You book them.
Next.
Sami Callihan.
Oh, Sammy, you're one of the reasons we started this book. And hey, you should get, you know what? I'm actually saying that we put an asterisk beside him because he is disgustingly spitting all the time and sweating like a pig. That stuff's got to stop or you're going to get in the basement of the Hall of Shame.
What is it with this guy, like, spitting lately? Like, I don't understand. I've never seen one wrestler do that so as much as he does.
You know what? Talking about this, I actually have 2 nominations now. Yes, go on.
Okay, we have the Chris brothers.
Yeah, the OVE.
And Tommy Dreamer.
Tommy Dreamer. Are you still alive? Okay, yes. You stay in there, Tommy Dreamer. I'll let you out when we do your memorial show.
Oh.
Well, he's got to be,
okay,
what is the guy, 70? He's yeah, anyways.
Who's your other nomination?
Okay, nomination number 1. And of course, I may control it sometimes, but Elio has a say. If Elio does not agree with this nomination, he doesn't go in. But I am nominating this week Ace Austin.
You just read the book of shame.
Ace Austin, this ridiculous card-playing, pull out the magic wand plastic crap that you buy at, like, what, Walmart for 10-year-olds? No, that's stupid, man. You're making it look stupid.
No, actually, I'm going to say, because you keep bringing this up, this must have been... Sunday night must have been the first time he did this.
No, I actually went back and I just think we didn't pay much of attention to it, but he's been pulling the stupid cane thing out for a couple weeks now.
Oh, okay. I guess I just never
noticed. I never noticed it too much until this week, and then it just really annoyed me.
Because I did notice there's a stupid card that he always pulls out, that ace or whatever.
Although, you know what? You could be right. I mean, he was on 3. I had to watch 3 Ace Austin matches this week.
Oh,
And
wow.
every one of them.
What's the third one?
Well, he was on the Rebellion, he was on MLW, and he was on maybe it was was it the regular show? Was it the regular Impact show? I've seen 3 matches with him this week, anyways.
Oh, okay.
So I know, and all 3 he had that stupid cane thing. So yeah.
We're gonna have to. No, that's gonna have to go. Come on.
Okay. And are you ready for our next nomination?
I'm ready for the next one.
Our next one. Oh, okay. Our next one. I want to nominate Rich Swann.
Ooh.
Rich Swann.
For-
It's bad enough that you fight Sami Callihan. It's bad enough you let him spit in your face, but when you pulled it off your face and put it in your mouth, that's just some gross ass crap.
Oh my.
That is disgusting, man.
Yeah, that's just gross.
I mean, Sami Callihan is the same guy that I watched in, I don't know if it was that match or a match earlier, where he actually was outside of the ring, he spit in the air and caught it in his mouth.
What is it with these guys and...
No, it's not these guys. It's Sami Callihan.
Rich Swann, I'm sorry.
You're going in, buddy.
You just made the book of shame.
You got fired from the WWE, but now you're locked up.
Ugh. Anyways, fans, this has been a traumatic week for me and Elio. We've been battling sickness. We've been battling a dearth of wrestling. We've been battling the saliva of Sami Callihan and the disgustingness of Rich Swann. It's only days like these, I thank alannis, that we get through them, man.
Oh.
Well, Helio.
If not for alannis, I don't know how we get through all
I don't know either, man. I do not know either. I mean, Rhea Ripley, yeah, she helps, but I mean, thank you, alannis. Anyways, you know what, folks? This is what I'm going to throw out the last thing today. Our poll for next week, and this is where you know what? Maybe let's pull a double poll. I want a double poll this week. We're going to have 2 polls, and they're going to have to do with the Book of Shame. Poll number 1: Is Ace Austin a credible wrestler, or just a hammy goof with all that junk he does with the cards and the blah 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 blah? When you see him wrestle, do you think he's a credible wrestler, or does that crap make him a handball? That's the first one. Number 2, it's going to have to do with Rich Swann taking spit in his face and eating it.
Oh no!
Is that not the most disgusting thing you've seen in the last while? Or fans, if it isn't the most disgusting thing you've seen in wrestling, please comment on the boards and tell us what is the most disgusting thing that you've seen on wrestling. First of all, you know what? Tell them, Elio, tell them all the social media junk that they can get a hold of us at.
So you can, before we do that, we should bring up the pay-per-view points game that we're going to be having coming up next month.
Oh, you know what? I've been so angered at Spit, Saliva, Rich Swann, and Ace Austin, I forgot about our own game. Folks.
So, May 25th, AEW will be having their first ever pay-per-view, Double or Nothing, and we will be having our very first pay-per-view points game with the winner winning either the Loot Crate or a $50 Amazon card.
Ooh, 50. Now, folks, me and Elio cannot be... we can enter this and we can even win it, but we can't win the prizes. If one of us takes the thing, the prize will go on to the next one. But this is our first pay-per-view points game, and I really encourage you. All you got to do is you got to read the rules, you got to like the thing, you got to share it with somebody, and be a part of it. Send in your list. Let's see who's savvy here. AEW, this is a whole new beast. I mean, we've been playing points,
and of course, this leads into all of the media. Social media where you can find us. But just to do all that by going to the Wrestling POV podcast page on Facebook.
Okay.
And on Instagram at Wrestling POV and Twitter Wrestling POV1.
And you know what, fans? You can find Wrestling POV podcast on Spotify, MySpace, WhatsApp, Crackle, Snapple, and Pop, iHeartRadio.
I'm sure you're mistaken about all that.
Well, not all of it. I'm sure some of it's real.
You can find Wrestling POV and Wrestling POV Global on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio,
MySpace,
and YouTube. MySpace. What is it? MySpace.
I don't know. I was too young for MySpace. I don't even know what that is. Anyhow, folks, you know what? This has been it's been a fun time as always talking wrestling. It was a long week. Elio, by the powers of Alannis, I hope you are going to get better.
Oh, thank you. I'm on my way. I'm feeling a lot better than I was on Thursday and Friday.
Good, because there is going to come a show here where I'm going to be super sick and you're going to have to carry the whole load, right?
Oh.
Oh,
no, I can do that. No,
I know you can, brother. You know what, fans? We had a great time this week. We look forward to next week. Look at those polls. Give us your stories. You know what? It's been awesome hearing some of your guys' memories and stuff like that. And you know what? If you have some ideas that you want us to talk about on POV Global, if there's maybe somebody we should be looking at, maybe there's a company that you want us to take a peek at, a wrestler who's breaking out, drop us a line, and we'll be sure to we read all your viewer mail. And hey, even if you just want to write in and say how much you're a fan of TJ and how you wish you could replace Elio, all you got to do is write those. And if you're Ace Austin, grow up. If you're Sammy Callahan, keep your body fluids to yourself. And Rich Swan, get a better diet. Disgusting. Anyways, that's it, folks. I'm your host, TJ Logan, the legend himself. And with me, as always, the gentleman, Elio Canella. Elio, say goodbye to the fine folks.
We will talk to you all next week.